I'm excited you're here because I know morning cars and cars in general can be a little bit tedious, but they're so good for us. They make people feel so good, and when they stop and do them, they're always thankful that they have, even though it doesn't feel like it's that useful at the moment, or they could be doing, some other kind of exercise at the time. So I appreciate you coming. We're gonna do every single joint in the body today. As you go through, think about like which ones feel the stickiest or the jerkiest, shakiest, smallest, and just not like disconnected. You'll know when it happens. And those are the ones I want you to focus on most in the future. So let's go ahead and begin. We're gonna start in a standing position and kind of go from top down. Let's see if I don't forget any of them. So I'm gonna ask you to set the ribs on pretty much every single exercise before we begin. So that means instead of encouraging this open scissor posture, we're gonna be taking a breath in, pulling the rib cage straight back, and tucking that tail. Squeezing the butt, but tucking the tail. All right, now we're in this fairly rigid posture without squeezing down. We're not tensing a lot, we're just holding this posture mindfully. Neck is first. Go ahead and tuck your chin to that little notch right at the top of your sternum, stretching the back of the neck long, and then glide the chin over the right collarbone toward the right shoulder, and then tip your head back a little bit, like somebody behind you is calling your name and you're trying to see who it is. And then from there, we're gonna arc all the way up over to the left shoulder. Reach, 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 reach. Long through the chin, over the top to the left shoulder. Don't let that right shoulder come around with you. And then tuck the chin to where the shoulder and the collarbone meet over there. And now glide the chin across that collarbone toward the center again with the chin tucked. Lift the chin, and let's go the other way. We're just gonna do 1 rep each way today. So pull the chin down, lengthen the back of the neck like you're pivoting that head, and then glide the chin across the left collarbone this time to the left shoulder. Tilt your head back a bit, and then arc, reaching up toward the sky. Do not move into closing angle pain. That means if you're moving to the right now and your right neck hurts, don't go quite that deep into the movement. Tuck the chin in, glide it back down to the sternum, and pivot up. All right, we just did the neck. That one is a great one for any time. Nobody's ever complained about having to do that. Let's move down. We're gonna just do the same action again, but with the mid back or the upper back, called the thoracic spine. So go ahead and Wakanda up, or grab a shirt sleeve. If you've got no shirt sleeves, grab your shoulders. You could hug a ball here too, if you've done that with me. And take a breath. Exhale those ribs down or back and tail tucked. And then curl around your ribs like you're doing a little crunch standing up. Keep your mid-back and below on the imaginary wall behind you, which means I don't want you to go into your low back. The low back is calm and quiet. Then pull your elbows over above your right pocket, your hip pocket. So you're squishing and twisting. Now I want you to basically flatten out to a side bend to your right. So pull that left shoulder back so you're side bending like you're smashed against the wall again. So shoulders and butt are against the wall, your imaginary wall. Next part is the hardest. We're gonna arc up and over and back. So try to extend the spine or pull the sternum up without letting the low back in and without letting those glutes or that tail come untucked. Keep the glutes firing, side bending to your left. You get there? Good, now we're gonna stay in the side bend, but pull that right elbow down toward the left hip pocket. Now we're again curling forward and squishing into a twist. Pull the elbows back over the belly button and then roll up. Did you make it? This one's trickier, so if you don't quite get the nuances, it's okay. Just practice, you'll get it. Other way, inhale, draw the ribs back, curl around it, pull the pockets over the left hip pocket this time, or the elbows over the left hip pocket, pardon me. Smash your right shoulder back, side bend to your left, and then pull the sternum to the sky, keep your low back calm, glutes firing as you arc up and over to your right side. Side bend straight to the side. Now add that twist, pulling the left elbow down toward the right pocket. Roll back to the center and roll up. Nice work. That one's a tricky one, so keep practicing, okay? Scapula or shoulder blades are next. So we're gonna just start with our hands at our sides, and I want you to squash your shoulders forward, shrug them forward. That was the word I was looking for. And then while they're pushing forward, lift them. And then from here, stay lifted and squeeze them back without jutting the ribs forward. And now try to keep them squeezed together and glide them down your back. Let's do that again. So we're pushing the shoulders forward, shoulder blades are coming with, and then we're shrugging up while they're pushed forward. And now up here, we're gonna squeeze and then pull them back down our back, trying to keep them as squeezed together as possible. Now we're gonna go the other way, to the other way. So stay squeezed together, and then we're gonna try to lift them up into our ears. Now stay up there and push the shoulder blades apart, and then pull them down our back with the shoulder blades staying wide. One more of those, squish them together down low. Nice, and then roll them up. Shrug as high as you can without losing that squeeze. And then as you lose it, you're gonna start to push forward at the top and then glide them back down the outsides. All right, good. Shake it out. So if you feel sticky shoulder blades, you are not alone. It's very common. It also is a sign that the shoulder is gonna be vulnerable or may be vulnerable already. So unstick the shoulder blades and that thoracic spine that we did right before this, and your shoulders are gonna be much happier. Let's move on. We're gonna do shoulders, speaking of the devil. Let's go 2 with each arm. We're gonna go in one direction twice and then in the other direction twice. If you've done them another way, you're welcome to do them the other way, but I don't wanna confuse anybody who's just learning these. So right arm starts, the thumb pointing to me. Sweep that arm. Actually, let's chop it across our body toward the left shoulder. And then as you continue to lift your arm overhead, it's gonna just sweep back in front of your face and end up as high as you can get it, bicep next to ear. Check that if you do have your bicep next to your ear or pointing to the ceiling, you weren't doing this to get it there. So what did we forget to do? We forgot to do this. Set the ribs, tuck the tail. Nice. So wherever you are is where you are today. This isn't the time to work on the range. This is just to give feedback for the range we have. Then go ahead and turn that palm back and like you're backstroking back through space here. Sweep the arm back and down until you get that pinky finger right next to the hip pocket. Your shoulder's gonna be rolled forward a lot. And let's continue through another round. So go ahead and turn the front thumb forward, chop across your body. You can stay standing, by the way. I'm just trying to get my arm in frame here. Thumbs pushing back, and now we're gonna pivot the hand, the wrist, and backstroke. Do your best to not let your body rotate, your spine rotate through here, and your ribs not to flare. Sweep down, pull that pinky finger forward. All right, so we're here. The thumb is pointing back, the pinky finger's pointing forward, and we're gonna reverse it. So go ahead and push straight back through space. Try to keep that hand, that arm in line with your hip pocket. So it should not go out that way. It should come straight back as far as you can get it to go until you are stuck again. Another time to spiral that palm up to the sky and start to swim through. This is another opportunity where we accidentally compensate and rotate and flare. So really lock it in here before you start through this hardest part, for me anyway. Bicep sweeps next to the ear. Karate chop across the body, and then we start back at the start again, and just keep going. Reach the pinky finger back. When you get stuck, swim that palm to face the ceiling. Really lock in here and the hip, and sweep through, and chop through. Good work. Let's go to the left arm. So we're gonna go forward first. That means we're gonna lead with the thumb, chop across toward our right shoulder, and then reach as upright as we can. Right here, take a breath. Exhale, pull those ribs toward the spine. Squeeze the butt. Keep the elbow straight and strong. Swim the palm back and continue along your way. Notice any differences between sides. It's glaringly obvious in my shoulders that I'm left dominant. And pinky finger leads at the end. Remember, we're spiraling that shoulder forward. And let's hit another one. Chop across, leading with the thumb. Overhead. Keep those ribs and glutes locked in. Sweep back. Nice work. Keep turning the palm until it's facing away from you with the pinky finger leading. All right, other way. Reach back through the thumb. Swim through. Stay super strong here through the body. Remember, we're staying at 50% effort, so super strong is really just like as much tension as you need to build here, gripping into the floor and bracing here to make sure nothing's moving elsewhere. And then again, lead back with the thumb, spiral the palm up and come around. Bicep brushes past the ear, chop across and float it down. Nice. Elbow cars are next. So we'll be starting with this palm open, thumb away from us. And I just want you to practice the rotation because it can get tricky. We're just rotating over the pinky finger, like that is our hinge. And then we'll come into flexion and we'll do our rotating over the pinky finger again. But this time the thumb will sweep next to our shoulder. So the pinky finger is still the hinge point, so to speak, but it's gonna feel different, all right? Let's put it together. So thumbs out. Let's go ahead and curl up with our thumb pointing out. And then we're gonna brush our thumb past our shoulder as we sweep the palm away from us and then push down. Now we arc over our pinky again, but the thumb's flaring out. Curl up, roll over that pinky, bring it down. Good, let's reverse directions. So keep the thumb pointing into the midline, curl, buck into flexion, and then we're gonna sweep the thumb out. Got it? And then extend, roll over that pinky, pull it up, roll over that pinky. Nice. Let's go to the other side. See if we can duplicate it. This is the tricky part for me. So let's just do a few here. Pinky finger is still our pivot point. And this is what's moving, right? Our radius coming over our ulna primarily. So we try our best to keep our shoulder from doing the work for us. Go ahead and curl up with your palm up. And then we're gonna brush our thumb past our shoulder to again curl over that pinky finger. Ready to try it all together? Let's do it. So palm facing me, go ahead and curl into flexion and then let that thumb rotate toward the sternum and then push down. Now the thumb's gonna sweep out and open, curl up. So what we're doing is making like a really, I think we're doing an extra here, a really oblong circle here, a really squished oval. Okay, reverse it. Keep the thumb pointing in, pull your knuckles to your face, sweep that thumb across your shoulder, come down. Do it again. Last one. Great work. Okay, wrists, and then we'll move on. So for me, I find that this was really helpful to get a little bit of a grip on the wrist to begin, because otherwise the elbow, as you just noted, is really good at rotating. So to isolate the wrist takes sometimes a little bit of kind of trapping out the upper arm. So we're gonna do that. Just give yourself a little gentle squeeze right above the wrist joint, and let's go ahead and make a fist and pull your knuckles towards your wrist and then pull them away. Let's do one more. Just practice flexion extension. Okay, find neutral again, and let's try to pull our thumb out away from the middle of our body and then pinky in toward the middle of our body. All right, easy so far, right? What happens sometimes when we start doing this is the thumb wants to go like that. So if you ever see your thumb rolling over toward the center, you're doing it wrong. Your thumb needs to stay out all the time. Hitchhiking, right? Stay in the hitchhiker position. Here we go. Let's go ahead and do the whole thing. So curl your knuckles toward your forearm. And then let's go ahead and go out first. So pull that thumb side out more. Start to sweep the knuckles open, or sorry, the palm open, and then pull to the pinky side and roll back through. So we're doing the most beautiful circle we can make here. And then back to the thumb side, open the palm, pull the pinky side through, and back to flexion. Stay here. We're gonna go the other way. So go ahead and pull to the pinky side, pivot down, open, thumb side, if you're finding this kind of jumpy and shaky, or just like there isn't much range in one area, or you don't feel like you've got the message fully sending, these are going to be a great tool to help you build that message a little bit stronger. And that was 2 reps for me. All right, let's do the other wrist and then move on. Make that fist. Let's do 2 flexion, dorsiflexion. No, these aren't feet. Flexion, extension. And then let's go to neutral and do a couple pivots in and out. Abduction, adduction. Who knows? Moving our wrists. Okay, let's put it all together. So pull your knuckles toward your face. Pull toward your thumb side. And then sweep open and through. Roll toward the pinky side and back up. That's 1. One more time. I'm pinning my elbow on my hip, but that helps keep my arm out of it, my upper arm out of it even more. When you get back to flexion, reverse it. So roll toward the pinky side, open, sweep the thumb side in, back up. Last rep here. Nice work. And back through. Great. Shake it out. Excellent. All right, let's move on down the line. We're going to move to lower body, starting with the hip. So let's go back to standing and get moving with that. All right, hip cars, this and shoulders are certainly one of the most telling drills that I can give my clients to learn more about what they're feeling and how it relates to how they're moving. So you can film yourself doing this, and it might help you get some more insight on how you're moving. Also, I recommend using something to stabilize yourself. I'm going to use this PVC because I'm in the, or this foam roller because I'm in the middle of the room, but I encourage you to use something more sturdy, something that's not like a broom handle or something, but actual stable surfaces. Because the more anchored you can feel, the more you're going to get out of that working hip. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the right leg. So keep that right leg away from the wall if you're using a wall or furniture, and let's go ahead and do the same thing we did with the shoulder. We'll go one way twice and then the other way twice instead of reversing in the middle if you've ever done that with me. So we're going to pull the heel of the right leg up the inseam of our left leg, trying to flex that knee as high as we can go. Eventually the heel is going to drop back under the knee. If you are matching my height here, great work. Just check that you're not doing it like that or like that, okay? So no other joint but the hip moves through this drill. It's really hard to manage, so just do your best in practice. So we're in hip flexion. While we're here, we're going to set the ribs. Inhale, exhale, pull those ribs down. You probably already have your tailbone tucked under. Isn't that nice? Then we're going to pull the knee out, open the gate. Keep your belly button facing me. Don't let it come with you, with your knee rather. Okay, trickiest part. We're going to start to lift the ankle toward the sky. It doesn't go very far on me. Maybe you're doing great, but I'm not. So then we want to get that shin parallel to the ground. That's our goal. So now to get that shin parallel, I'm going to have to drop my knee. So I want you to do the same if you're stuck and not parallel until you see that your shin is parallel to the ground. Did you get it? That's what we want right there. And then go ahead and set the foot down. That's 1 rep. Let's do another one. Lift the knee up, grazing the inseam of the left leg. Come to full hip flexion. Open the gate. Keep the belly button ribs facing me. Lift the ankle. Woo, that's all. Drop the knee. As you start to push that heel back till your shin is parallel to the ground. And then set the foot down. Let's go the other way. So we're just going to take it in reverse. Wrap around to the front. So start by pulling the heel up till your knee's at about a 90-degree bend. Then push back like you're kicking a door shut, but no low back activation. So don't do that. Just feel that glute fire, right? You can poke it. It feels like it's on fire, right? Now I want you to flare the shin that is parallel to the ground right now out to the side as far as you can get it to go, okay? Without feeling that happen. And then we're going to start to drag the knee forward toward the front of our body. The ankle is going to slowly creep under until our shin is now parallel to our body instead of the ground. And then we'll just close that gate and float down. Great. Let's do it again. Kick the heel up. Stomp the wall behind you, feel that glute fire up. And then fire hydrant out. When you can't go any further, start to drag the knee forward. As you drag it forward, it's gonna be able to go higher and higher and higher. That ankle's gonna drop under. And then close the gate. Nice work. I know that standing leg gets a lot of work too, right? Okay, let's set the ribs before we start this rep. Inhale, exhale, set the ribs, tuck the tail. Anchor strong on the right foot, lift the right knee up. High as you can go without rounding the back, bending the knee. Open the gate. Whew. Lift the ankle. Don't let the tail untuck. Keep that glute squeezed. And then when you can't lift the ankle anymore, dip the knee until your shin is parallel. Look down and check. Because sometimes it feels parallel, but it's not. Push the wall behind you and then set it down. Inhale, lift the knee. Open the gate. Keep that belly button to me. Lift the ankle. Dip the knee. Look at that shin parallel. Make sure you're not hanging out here, but you feel like that's hard to stay. And then set the foot down. Other way. 3, 2, 1, kick the heel up till the shin is parallel to the ground. Kick back. Fire hydrant out. Drag the knee forward and up. Close the gate. Bring it back down. Make sure you're hitting those markers as you go. So kick back, feel that hip squeeze, pause. Now fire hydrant. Pause. Now drag the knee. Pause. Is the heel right under the knee? Is your belly button facing me? Yeah. Close the gate. Float down. Really nice. Okay, so like drill that 100 more times and you'll get it. It'll be great. Okay, we have very little to do. We've got knees and ankles. I'm gonna shift positions to the floor because it's much easier to get from the floor. You could also sit in a chair. All right, here we are, knees, ankles, and then we're done. This morning cars business. It's probably gonna take less time when I'm not instructing you, but that means you're practicing on your own and learning to feel what's happening. Okay, knees. We typically wanna pin down the hip because the hip is very willing to rotate for us, but the knees also have some rotational ability, but they're not as used to being asked to do it. So what I do is I hook my same side elbow under my knee and pull my thigh to my chest. If that is way too intense, you can grab a yoga block and pin it between your thigh and your belly so that you're working out here instead of all squished up here, okay? Now we're just gonna work on one and then the other. So let's work on rotating the knee first. You can kind of help yourself to begin, or you can like try to use your muscles and put a finger on a spot and watch it move. Make sure you're actually moving the shin and not just the ankle, because that'll cheat for you if you want, but I want you to see actual movement up here in the knee joint. And then we'll just practice one extension. Ooh, listen to the cracks, right? And flexion. If you're getting crackles and pops, it's okay as long as there's no pain with it. Okay, let's put it together. So let's start by externally rotating. Try to pivot that knee out and then try to kick up to extension. If you don't quite get there, it's okay. We spend a lot of time in knee extension, like whenever we stand. And then rotate the knee into internal rotation without letting that thigh help. And then pull the heel down. Good. So I'm just using my hand here to remind my leg where to go. I don't want you to do the work passively, meaning using your hand. So just kind of use that to help the tissue figure it out. Don't use it to not let the tissue do its job. Okay, that was 2 one way. Keep the toe pointed in. Let's kick up. Rotate the knee externally, pull it down. One more, rotate the shin in, kick up, external rotation, pull it down. Nice. Other leg, trap it, and let's practice rotation by itself. Pull the bits of the floor off your pants while you're here, and then flexion extension a couple times. Ooh, work out the kinks, and let's put it together. Again, let's externally rotate to begin. So try to spiral that knee or that shin away and then kick up. Internally rotate. Your ankle's always gonna wanna help. until you can really isolate out. So that'd be another sign, rotate externally, that you're really getting it is if your other joints are not needing to feel like they have to help, or they're just not participating as much. So, or when you don't have to grip that wrist so tight to get the rotation to happen in your wrist instead of your elbow, that's a good sign. Because we want them to be able to move independently first, and then we know when they're moving with other joints, those other joints aren't, doing more than their share because the one that we're working on is still not doing it, okay? That's how we isolate out those joints that aren't feeling it. Okay, ankle, and then we're done. So back to the right leg. Now we're gonna isolate the knee joint out. So this is kind of where the knee rotates. So I just kind of clasp my hand over that spot and lock it in. And then hover your heel off the ground. And let's just practice eversion, inversion. So I'm just pivoting my foot away, and then pivoting my foot to the midline. So away from the midline to the midline, right? And then we got plantar flexion, dorsiflexion. You probably have that one in the bag, right? Now let's put it together. So go ahead and pull your toes out away from the midline, and then gas pedal down. Push into plantar flexion, and then pull your toes around toward the midline, and then toes up again. Sweep them out, push down, sweep them in, pull up. Great, okay, other way. We're still pulling those toes toward the midline or inward. So go ahead and press them down toward the floor, sweep them away from the midline and up. These can also be really jumpy in a lot of us. So ankle cars are easy to fit in during idle time at home. I encourage you to make them feel like they're more loved. Shake it out, switch sides by just hitting the cars for them more frequently. I'm running out of words, I think. Here we go, last leg, last joint. Let's go ahead and practice inversion, eversion first. Lovely. If you've ever had a sprain, I'm thinking of it because I've got a sprain from 20 years ago, and then flexion extension. Like a history of ankle sprains, you could probably feel it today if you haven't done a lot of work like this on them. Okay, let's put it together. So this is yet another reason to work on ankle mobility, is to prevent future sprains and to work out that scar tissue. Here we go. Let's pull the toes away from the center. Lock that knee in. That was a cheat with the knee on me. And then push the toes to the floor. Sweep through the center toward the midline, and then up. Externally, I always confuse those two. Push it down, pull it in, and up. We're gonna evert. Plantar flexion, invert, dorsiflexion. And then I made you do an extra, so sorry. Let's go the other way. Pull those toes in, push down, sweep it out, and up. Last rep. Pull it in, gas pedal, sweep it out, and up. That's it. All right, so thank you for joining. That was a long one, I know, and somewhat tedious, but it's so valuable, so valuable. So even if you're just getting one joint each day and not everything every day, that's still a win in my book. So keep on using this resource and make the most of your joints throughout your entire lifespan.